The question was, how could they have possibly lost? The have been setting Earth up to be invaded for a long time. They had even prepped all the governments to let everyone think there was going to be some sort of fake invasion. Yet they were actually going to show up during that same time, pretend to destroy the ones who were invading, and then come down as the saviors. Yet they showed up in a full battleship. This could easily subjugate an entire planet, especially one that has no actual space defense. There's no fleet. The stations are nothing but tubes that look like, well, biological waste floating in space. How could they have possibly beaten one of the strongest species? The are a death world species as well. Yet they've been spacefaring for well over 1,000 of the humans' years. They brought their strongest ship, their most advanced ship. And yet, just as everything was starting, just as the timing was perfect, apparently there was a warning. The only message we got from the battleship was that the humans had told them no, had told them to stop, to leave. They didn't want them close. Well, the decided they would go along with it, and if they had to take the planet by force, that was at bare minimum, after losses, 6.8 billion servants, not to mention a planet that could sustain them as well. Could sustain many species, actually, and would become a hub given its position. However, special considerations for the area had to be considered, especially since it's inside a strange dead zone, wrapped in layers and layers and layers of heat and radiation. But still, they advanced. They advanced so much that one would be thinking this invasion is going to happen no matter what. Yet once again, humanity warned them, don't do it. As they advanced, the took out every single satellite, every single man-made object, and left several bodies floating in space as they destroyed the minuscule space stations that seemed to not even have weapons on them. The few weapon systems that seemed to turn were immediately targeted and destroyed. This was surprising because everybody knew how absolutely paranoid humans were. They seemed to enjoy killing themselves. They've been monitored, slaughtering each other by the millions, sometimes in battles over just a few meters of land. Yet not so much anymore, as for them, war has gotten fast, but for everyone, well, it's Tuesday. They don't know anything about galactic conflicts, so how could they possibly have stopped this battleship? Nobody knew. All they knew at that point was the fact that the battleship went dark and it ended up tumbling through Earth's atmosphere, breaking apart as it went, as though the engines themselves had blown part of it to pieces, and then it just disintegrated. Large chunks landed, all of them captured by any human nearby. Some monitored the situation. They tried to see what was going on. They saw that a few of the humans simply melted these parts down. Technology that sometimes takes weeks, months, years to develop and build melted down to make gears, to make spearheads, to make simple parts for their ground-based vehicles. And yet others would take the technology and pull them inside these subterranean caves, these deep underground military bases where no one knows what really happens. These few that the humans are able to keep secret, to keep sealed, well, no one knows what really happens, yet there is a possibility. Another ship was sent, and it too disintegrated. A third was sent. This one, unfortunately, crashed almost fully onto the planet. By sheer coincidence, it landed inside one of their oceans, which was not hard considering it's easier to hit water than it is to hit land on that sphere. However, the humans fought each other for the rights to actually go into the ship. They wanted the technology, but this didn't make sense. This technology was basic. This technology you could find anywhere from any species. How could the humans have taken it down in the first place? Nobody understood. There's still no space defenses. The ships aren't getting low enough for terrestrial weapons to reach. Nothing is hitting them. How is this possible? It is only when two separate ships from the Zoinks actually showed up. One stayed back and watched, and they saw something incredible. On their sensors, they could see some sort of buildup of energy, but an energy that humans haven't used in almost 2,000 of their years. They still have a few of the generators around, but they've been non-functional ever since the Orki had flooded this planet. How is it possible for them to have this energy? And there's so much all of a sudden. And without warning, it seemed as though a beam of light came from the planet itself. The planet had attacked the ship. And as soon as it touched the ship, that first ship that was so close to the planet simply went dark. A moment later, the engines ruptured, at least one of the engines, and exploded out the side, leaving a strange trail of debris and almost smoke as it seemed to drip out different fluids and whatnot over the zero gravity of space. That is when the ship fell. It tumbled through the atmosphere, this time aiming for one of the large continents. It would end up crashing down, and if it was in one piece, the humans would once again kill each other to get this technology. But why would they even want it? They can defend themselves just fine. But still, the recording going back to the council absolutely frightened them. Everyone knew that the humans were paranoid. Everyone knew that the humans just loved tearing themselves apart. Everybody knew that the humans would turn anything into a weapon. If they needed to defend themselves, especially their own domiciles, they would use anything. They would pick up reading material and throw it. They would use recreational material like a bat and start pummeling someone. And especially if they had a weapon, they would definitely use it. And suddenly it made sense. The humans had kept this weapon just like they do in their own domicile near where they sleep. They had made sure that they always were strapped. They always had a weapon. Now, everyone looks at Earth and no one wants to get close because humans apparently will use anything as a weapon, turn anything into a weapon, including their own planet. Hello, everybody. This is Syntax. Thank you for joining me today on this 100% off-the-cuff story. Now, before I go, I need to say that today's winner is Julius Boone. And I also need to send out some very special thank yous to some very special fans. You guys are the reason why I'm still making this channel. And they are Prozac and Pancakes, SS Demon, Brian Kemp, MTF Guard, Erica Gem, The Wildcat, Guardian Sage, Steve Ewig, Julius Boone, and Sir. Thank you all so much for supporting the channel. Everybody else, I'll see you on the next one. This is Syntax, punching out.